So today's cars, they don't excite me anymore, to be honest. Golden era, you make me talk anything. That is something which is worth talking. Today's cars, okay, they're just coming, they're just going. See, they don't even last long.
Yeah.
5 साल बाद गाड़ी खड़कनी है, 10 साल बाद लोगों ने गाड़ी बेचनी, 6 साल में लोग गाड़ी बेच देते हैं आजकल.
Do you think in the modern era are there any vehicles that you can probably count on your fingertips that still hold that legendary value and they continue to deliver that?
If I talk about today's cars that are on sale in the country, there are quite a lot of good cars, but for that you need to pay a hefty price. Right?
Like which ones?
A45S is an epic car. Plus you have the obviously the M2 that is just came in. Doesn't look good. M340i is doing good for the market. Right? Audi's S5 is a good all-rounder. Audi in fact has always been making some underrated RS cars also. They should succeed. They are good cars. They look good. The BMW M designs, they look obnoxious. Look at the nose, the big nostrils.
That's my personal view as well, because I think after having those super big grills now, I think they've kind of lost, at least for me personally, saying they have lost that charm.
Yes.
And for that matter, even a little overboard here when I say this, but even in case of Ferraris, I think after F40 and F50, I think I don't know, I just feel that Ferrari also has gone in terms of design language, that oomph has completely gone out of the window. Even for some people it stuck till Enzo, but for me it stuck till F40. F50.
Absolutely, I would agree with you on that. Today's cars are more about curves, right? More about too much of curves, too much of creases, too much of curves, right?
Right.
And that is where these things don't age well.
As a car enthusiast, what criteria do you use to evaluate and appreciate the design language of different cars?
That is a very tough question to answer, because
आपके साथ ना बात करने से पहले मुझे सवाल लिखने पड़े.
Rather, it's a very tough question to answer. I'll tell you why. Every company has got a way of expressing their emotions in design. Okay. If you talk about Koreans today have gone overboard. The Korean design philosophy means that you need to recycle a design every 6 years, and there is no definitive design language that would last. Can you tell me one Korean car in 30 years that is a classic? None of them. Okay, because they make something very weird. If you talk about today's cars of Hyundai and Kia, they appear to be very futuristic, right? And if you talk about whatever this Verna is coming with this huge light bar, it's very polarizing design. There are two creases at the back door, and then the two saw. Again, there is a crease here, there is a crease here, and there is a crease at the back. So this is a forceful design. Plus the parametric design of Hyundai, which has just too many curves on the grills, right? Parametric dynamics. Initially, it would look good, but when you start to look at too many cars within just a year, it fades out.
Right.
And then you do a facelift in the 3rd year, and then you replace the whole car with a whole new design philosophy in 6th year. So these old cars, they don't hold any value in the market. The same goes for the Genesis also. Genesis, you will find
these cars are not really spoken about even after a good number of years.
The latest version of this big Hyundai, the Grandeur, I would say it looks elegant. The front it doesn't, but from the side, if you look at it, it has that Rolls Royce vibes. That is one of the best Korean cars I've ever seen. Okay. Japanese, they design a car which lasts for ages. They design very simple cars. I would give Toyota an exception, because today's Toyotas, they are very outlandish. You have those creases and curves like a cross coming out from the front. There's a logo here, and then there is another crease going on to the belt line, plus there is a crease coming out to the lower flank of the door. On the back, if you see, there is another crease. So they know how to make a good looking car futuristic, as well as it can last for a decade at least. Yeah. Most of the Toyotas today, I'm not talking about the Indian Toyotas, I'm talking about the Japanese Toyotas. They are futuristic, at the same time kind of elegant. But then when you look at the Alphard and the Velfare, they look overboard from the front with that ghastly grills and too much of flashiness, chrome and all that. So, but then Indians are liking the Velfire. It's selling for what it is being offered, right?
Correct.
And then you look at Mazda. Mazda has been making some consistent, timeless designs. Mazdas are good cars, but now they too are losing their charm.
Mazda, to khair, I don't know. I wished so much that companies like Mazda and
Yeah.
Subaru also should enter into the Indian market.
Yeah,
They've got some very good designs. They've got
Correct.
very robust mechanics.
correct.
I don't know just why as to they chose to not enter into the Indian market.
And if I take Honda, the Hondas of today are very elegant. I mean, very simple, decent. They have very clean design. In fact, the Civic that you see, the today's 11th gen Civic, that looks pretty decent for what it is offering. Accord has been kind of an uninspiring one that has been launched in America. Not that inspiring to me. City is okay, Amaze and all that. But when you look at the SUVs, the CRV, the ZRV, the HRV, kind of they are looking quite decent. The lineup of Honda. Suzuki, obviously, they never have any design language, so I can't comment on them. They either make something very ugly or they make something which is even more uglier.
I feel the thing with Maruti is their philosophy is very clear that their focus might not be completely on how the car looks at you know
It is about function.
from the enthusiast point of view. That's not their focus. I think their focus is very clear to sell more number of cars
They
and
are
those service network.
They are there. But then again, I would say that Baleno is a decent looking car, the new Baleno. They have improved a lot, right? Plus, even I would say the Grand Vitara is quite a nicer, one of the nicer looking units around.
The Swift was a legendary design.
First gen Swift, I would agree. After that, it became uglier. Yeah. Current gen Swift is obviously not my cup of tea. And then we had Nissan. I would say Nissan could have done better. They are neither here nor there. Japanese they're kind of playing with the designs, kind of good, kind of bad. Okay. If you go to Europe, Mercedes is all of big screens, flash with big grills. Audi has been elegant, but then Audi too has of late started to add a bit of flash to their vehicles without going to their core values of over designing them. Audis, they look good. BMWs, everyone knows the design they are going. I mean, they are going very, very weird. They are going on the Chinese school of thought.
I think Merc is doing a fair decent job in terms of, even if at least they are not going crazy with you know how BMW is doing with completely like
I
huge
would
grills
say
and
that
everything.
EQS is a very good looking car, the EQS AMG.
At least they've kept it simple and straightforward
Yes.
from the outside. They've not added too many curves and too many weird lines and everything.
Yes. If you look at the i7, it looks very stupid. The i5, that is just coming. What have they done for the back? I don't know. They've killed the 5 Series with that design, right? And then Volkswagen. See, Volkswagen's game has always been to give designs that would age for 10-15 years without doing any facelifts. Skoda, Volkswagen. They are simple but sober, but at the same time kind of flash. So these cars would age well down the line, right? And then you come to Americans. Americans' designs have always been good in my books. Even if you look at today's American cars, like what General Motors and what Ford are coming out with, they are badass, right? Obviously, some vehicles look weird, some electric vehicles of them. But then I would love to see Cadillac in India. The Cadillac that is today, it's something which can give some good choice or good competition to the Germans. The CT4V, the CT5V, the Escalade. Escalade is a very good looking truck.
But then why do you think that they never chose to come to India?
Because they were never serious about the global markets. The Cadillac, even in Europe, was never successful. In fact, they never focused much on the right-hand drive markets as well. Right. In fact, if you look at GM today post restructuring, they have left many markets, but they are coming out with some good cars. The Corvette is a very good car, the mid-engine Corvette, in spite of quality issues. And the Buicks of today, they are very good than what the Buicks of the yesteryears were. Right. And then GMC has reinvented itself with some good vehicles. In fact, they have resurrected the Hummer in the electric vehicle. They have kept that design DNA of Hummer alive, at the same time modernizing the vehicle with the character, 1000 HP and all that. So Americans, they are okay. Ford has been decent enough.
Hmm.
Bronco is doing good. The Ranger Raptor,
Yeah.
they are doing good.
Hmm. Hmm.
They need to have a bit more aggression in terms of marketing, right?
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And then Stellantis is obviously a culmination of French, American, Italian brands. So it has a long way to go before it can reorganize itself. Now, because Stellantis has got 14 brands, Fiat has been their best-selling brand in the first half of 2023 worldwide
Hmm. Hmm.
with that electric lineup. Italians, if you see, they have got some very, very eye-catching designs or some very hateful designs.
Hmm.
Italians have got their own character.
Hmm.
So design is something which matters to me a lot. But today, if I would go for buying a car based on a design, it would be a very tough choice. Like
But I'm sure कोई तो आपका एक होता होगा कि this is something that appeals to me the most in today's date in this country.
kind of, but then again, it depends on what I want because in terms of designs, things are changing very frequently.
Hmm.
I mean, every day you will see a new launch somewhere in the planet. Every month you see a design philosophy changing. Chinese cars, if you talk about today's Chinese cars, they are kick-ass compared to what they were 10 years back or 5 years back or 3 years back for that matter, right? If somebody has seen the interior of the BYD 803, that is a very good artistic interior. You can see there's all those flowing of curves, the whole sketch that artist has done. It has been implemented well in the design.
Yeah.
The choice of colors, choice of materials. I would even say the Tata vehicles are very good looking, especially the color choices that you see and the way the design has been implemented. Pratap Bose, what he has done with the lineup is very good.
Can you share a memorable experience when you saw a car's design or mechanical feature that left a lasting impression on you? Which was that one or two machines जिसका कि design and mechanicals left a lasting impression on you?
2010 when I saw the red NSX at Pandit in Okhla.
Which one was this?
The same vehicle which is in Mumbai currently.
Honda NSX.
Yeah, the Acura NSX.
Acura NSX.
Yes, that was when I started to get crazy about that car. The mid-engine VTEC, the aluminum body, the F16 like design. That was something. It is even timeless today. Second, the car that I'm going to talk about is the SLS. The SLS is a very good car. Very good car. One of the last great AMGs that exist. And then you have those top gullwing doors. And of course the big bonnet line that reminds you, it's an American car in German disguise.
And straight headlights.
Straight headlights. And of course that majestic sounding V8. So that was, I saw that in 2011. And then when I saw the old Murcielago, the pre-LP 640.
The first Murcielago.
First
Murcielago.
And especially when I saw a photo of it on the brochure which is there inside, just goes like this. Beautiful door that just swings up like that. These three cars I would say have been the greatest of all times I saw in the country.
For me, in the Lambos, for me, I mean, I might be a little harsh with my words, but for me, the Lambo oomph died after the first Murcielago, to be very honest. And my favorite Lambo till date remains to be the Countach.
For me, it's the Miura.
Miura, then, that's a very different era already. That's a very different era altogether. But I get what you're saying. So, Countach was one big thing. Although I've never seen it up front in front of my eyes. I think once I did when I was in Europe. But I've never been able to experience the mechanicals. But I've heard people, people on YouTube and stuff talk about the vehicle that they own, Countach. They say it's a tank. I mean, nothing really goes wrong with that vehicle. Everything is manual. Even the windows, I think they have to be rolled down.
Yes.
And the design language was way ahead of its time. But, I mean, look at what it has done to people's minds.
Yes.
People remember that design, like from left to
that is how design should be created, so people remember it forever.
Exactly. And apart from Lambo, the Ferrari F50. For many people, it's the F40. For me, it was the F50. In terms of design and mechanicals, hands down 911.
Yep.
And actually, no. Before the 911, the 959 Porsche.
959 was a legend. It was too ahead of its time.
That took my heart.
That is my
away.
favorite Porsche till date, 959.
And that was I think that was when it was launched, it was one of the fastest Porsche's
Yes.
cars.
Like again, I told you the 1991, 92 when the NSX came in, the 959 came in, the F40 came in. These were the best times for global sports car makers. When the XJ220 came in the 90s, the early 90s.
Yes.
They showcased the best of their engineering skills, the best of what they could make, even though it was for limited clientele.
I still remember all the best of the cars of that era. They were in Need for Speed. We used to play that game a lot.
Yes.
And NSX, when you mentioned about the NSX and earlier you mentioned about marketing, I still remember, I think Honda had signed up with Ayrton Senna.
Yes.
For marketing the NSX, and I think Senna did end up buying one actually. Or I don't know, Honda gave it to him or he bought one from
Senna
Honda.
owned 3 of them.
And I think there is a very clear statement from Senna that even he believes that there was nothing ever built even close to the NSX, the way it handled, the way it drove, the way it looked.
Because of simple reason, he helped to develop the chassis of the NSX.
Oh, that I didn't know.
And when they were developing the car in 1990, they were using the Cray supercomputer, which was the most expensive that time, to develop this car. Okay. Now the chassis was a full aluminium, the first car in the world to have this integrated aluminium chassis, and the first car that he drove, the red one, which was showcased at the American car show, it was very fragile. So the feedback that he gave, it stiffened the chassis by 50%. The weight was not even that much in terms of the weight increase. So after that, he gave a sign off, and that was when the car was launched in the late of 1990s. So after his approval,
NSX was something.
Yeah.
My God. I mean, while talking only, you do end up getting goosebumps talking about NSX.
Yes.
Quite something.
It never got the credit, unfortunately, until today.
Never.
Yes. And people who have seen what an NSX R was, the lightweight version, 483 were made in the first version of that.
Yeah.
Then in the second one in 2002, they made about only 140, and all of them were Japanese. For 2002, having a carbon fiber bonnet was a big thing. It was the first car in the world with a carbon fiber bonnet. Then you had the underbody aero. Quite a lot of aero stuff was there. And imagine a 15-year-old platform vehicle putting the same time in the notch life as the 360 Challenge Stradale.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Ferrari had the 328, the 348, the 355, then the 360, then 360 Challenge Stradale. Honda didn't change much with the NSX. They just upgraded the engine to 3.2 liters in 1997, and they just came out with a 130 kilos lighter Type R in 2002. Before that, there was a Type S Zero also. So, if you look at the videos of the Type R or the Type S Zero, that car is very fast. Just even though it makes 290 HP, but those 290 horses in the Type R,
you could feel it.
You would feel it. And every engine of the Type R was not even same in terms of construction. It was counterbalanced 10 times more than what a normal NSX engine was.
Oh, and how did that help?
In terms of better acceleration, more reliability, because that engine used to rev till 8,000 RPM.
Acha, the red line was 8,000.
Yes, it was a lofty 8,000 RPM.
I think this was the same era of the Supra as well, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
It was the same era.
Supra only gained cult because of the Fast and Furious.
Yes.
Because people never knew about it.
Fact is fact. Nobody knew about it.
And when you start promoting your cars in the movies, that is when the resale prices also skyrocket.
Oh yeah.
The same is happening with R34 GTRs, R33 GTRs.
Correct. Skylines.
The MK4 Supras. Yeah. And today something like an NSX R can go for as high as $300,000. That has happened. And slowly the new collector's car, that is one of my favorite American cars, is a C4 ZR1 Corvette. So the C4 ZR1 earlier was selling for just like $30,000, $40,000. Now it has started to sell for $85,000, $90,000 because people have started to realize what General Motors did with that car. So it was a quad cam engine, fastest car in the world for 1994. I think 1992.
Which one is this? Sorry, come again.
ZR1, the Ford John Corvette ZR1.
Yes. I
So it
remember.
was a 375 horsepower.
Yes.
The Lotus, I think it was Lotus engine, Lotus design, built by someone. It was hand built by some other company.
Okay. Okay.
4 camshafts
Mm-hmm.
and 32 valves. That time, and the dynamics of the car was stupendous. So that car used to handle very well on the track.
For me, in American, in terms of design language, I mean, obviously, I might not know all the cars at the back of my hand, but few names which I remember that have stuck to my heart and mind. Dodge Viper, the red one, the
Yes,
topless
yeah.
Dodge Viper that
Yeah.
came in first.
Yep.
Going a little back, Shelby Cobra,
Yes.
Chevelle SS further back,
Yep.
and Chevelle SS की generation की ही Dodge Challenger and Charger.
Yes. The 68, 69 eras. Yes.
I mean, for me, the Mustang that time was not even close to these Dodge vehicles. And
Pontiac GTO.
Pontiac GTO was one. Yes, correct.
And then you have the Plymouth Barracuda.
Yes, Plymouth Barracuda. Yes,
Yes.
correct. I remember.
And then there was the
Hemi, the Hemi engine.
Yes.
I remember that was a Hemi engine. Yes. What does your current fleet of cars include?
I own 2 cars. One is a Abarth Punto and
Okay.
one is a Palio 1.6.
Both Fiats.
Yes, both Fiats.
Why do you have both cars and both Fiats?
Simple reason. Like I told you, our family grew up owning Fiats,
Correct.
right?
You mentioned.
So these are my 5th and the 6th Fiats respectively. For that, I had a couple of diesel Puntos also, right?
Okay.
So these cars have something which other cars don't. 2 things.
Huh.
Number 1 are the big engines.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, character.
Mm-hmm.
And for the price I got these cars, obviously Palio was an army-owned car, which I got it. Then the Abarth was going, they were going for a song, like new cars were being sold for 9 lakh rupees on road. That car, you already have a 145 HP 1.4 turbo in that
You
small
picked this
body.
one up for 9 lakhs?
Yeah.
Oh God.
And then you have the, I had the base and then I had to build the car in my own way, right? So I have done quite a lot of modifications on the Abarth as well as the Palio also. Palio has got few of them. Abarth has got a long list of mods from different manufacturers for Jayback, Ponies, Wolf Remap. List goes on and on.
You mentioned about character. Can you
Yes.
elaborate a little more about character? What exactly about these
Yep.
cars do you think? What is the character behind these cars?
Character for everyone is a different perspective, okay?
Okay.
Character means how does the car connect to you? Like you are connected to the car. Is the car connected to you in the same way that the car that you are connected? Like when you just look at the car and when you just open the key, when you just slam the door and sit into it, when you just feel the steering, and when you just turn on the ignition, when you just hear the engine roar and when you start to drive, that whole feeling of nirvana. I mean, are these cars giving you the same way like what you're expecting? Like, is the car dancing to the tunes that you are belting out?
Well
That is
said.
what is character.
Okay.
The car should dance in the way you should make it dance. Is that steering responding? Is that linkage at the front turning on the way that you want it to turn? If you want the car to fishtail, is it fishtailing and giving you that thrills? How sturdy is the car and how well the dynamics are sorted out? But most important is how sweet the engine sounds. That is what these cars have. I would not talk about the shitty 1.2 or the 1.4 petrols that they came in. But
Okay.
when I talk about a car like a 1.6 liter Palio, twin cam 16 valve, first in India, tech in 2001, plus a reverse inclined, 140 Nm torque, 100 HP. It was a lot. And even the car used to do 100 in 11.1 seconds. Quite fast car for its time.
For its time, it's quite fast.
Plus, you have reserves of torque band at every RPM. You can climb the car on third gear without even downshifting it, right? Plus, most important, that car sounds very good in the stock. internal stock engine with a stock exhaust setup, and it goes all the way up to 7,200, 300 rpm. So it's like a Honda engine redlining in Italian disguise. Plus it handles like a Ford. So it plays roles of a multiple car. Obviously, from today's standards, it is a very old engineered car. The engineering dates back to 1996. But then these cars have got those raw things. And then the multi-jet, every manufacturer had that engine. Millions of
Tata
cars.
had it, Maruti had it,
Yes.
Fiat of course had it.
MG has it. Quite a lot of manufacturers. GM also had it.
What are the key elements you look for in a car's driving dynamics to determine its performance capabilities?
Most important has to be the stability and the steering feel.
Okay.
Stability means how does the shock absorber rebound, how does the spring rebound, and how exactly quicker lock-to-lock turns the car is handling.
In layman terms, if I am to understand, basically what you're saying is how well planted it remains on the road,
Yes.
no matter how many undulations are there.
Yes.
Because essentially, I mean, for the viewers, I think rebound, spring action, all of this ultimately comes down to
Yes.
keeping the vehicle on the ground, no
Yes.
matter how
It
fast
also
it's going.
depends on how well you're tuning.
Right.
Right.
Correct.
Whenever a car is developed by engineers, there is a tune that is given to the spring. Like
Right.
at this much speed, it should rebound like this. At as I'm going to go, it should do like this, like this, like this. To keep
Right,
the car
right, right,
planted.
right.
The same goes for the dampers also. So dampers, the travel of the dampers, that is very important because when you're matching with the ground clearance of the vehicle, that is where the size of the dampers with correlation to the springs.
Right.
That is very important.